Coming up on BCN today. Findings are released showing the social issues surrounding Lethbridge's supervised consumption site. Plus, the cleanup continues in Newfoundland following Friday's blizzard. And President Trump's impeachment trial is set to begin.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. Residents of St. John's, Newfoundland can go shopping this morning, even though a state of emergency remains in effect. The city is allowing some stores to open so people can get basics like bread and milk. The cleanup continues from Friday's blizzard that dumped 76 centimeters of snow in the eastern part of the province. Travel remains difficult in some areas, where residents are relying on each other for food and using social media to get help to people in need. The social issues relating to our city's supervised consumption site were studied, and the findings were released at the City Council on Monday. The Heart of Our City Committee spearheaded the research undertaken by the U of L in order to help assess the potential impact to our community of the SCS.
Well, I think it shares a few things, confirms a few things that we knew, and that this is a very complex issue with many moving parts, and that it's just another piece of information for us to take and to make some important decisions on. For us, it confirms and gives us the ability to look at what the area was dealing with before a consumption site was added to the area. Some of the things that happened as that consumption site ramped up in terms of its activity, and then a year from the date of opening, where we were at from a community perspective. And so now what that allows us to do is have a baseline so that as we institute new mitigation methods and techniques from the Clean Sweep program, diversion outreach team, and some of the other things funded from the Downtown Clean and Safe strategy, we're able to see whether or not they're impacting in a positive manner the environment around the consumption site.
In the 100-meter zone around the site, there's a concentration of people who are coming for services, because prior to that, this area was a commercial area. There's some bars in the area, so any activity that we see will be at night related to alcohol. And so with the site, we have a group of disenfranchised people with rather complex needs coming to the area for service. And the services, the wraparound services include they come there for housing help, they come for social services, health care, and also substance use that is safe so that they don't overdose and die. And so that's why people come to that area now. And so that area was relatively untouched before by this particular population. And so I can understand why people are noticing things. But again, the study does not talk about the merits of supervised consumption, such as wraparound services, but it does talk about, the study does address that there may be some unintended consequences from a large group of people now accessing a single service.
The study was commissioned by City Council as part of the Joint Action Team Funding Initiative. The state of our solar energy will be discussed at an open house this week. It's hosted by Lethbridge County and 3B Energy. Information will be provided on several aspects of solar energy, including opportunities that exist in Lethbridge County, the Stewart Siding Solar Farm feasibility study, results of the county's recent solar survey, and insight into renewable energy financing options and taxes. The information session is open to the public on Thursday, January 23rd at the Lethbridge Public Library from 6:30 till 8:30 p.m. An Edmonton-based liquor and cannabis retailer is trying to combat the growing number of liquor store thefts by adopting ID scanners. Elcanna Inc., which runs Liquor Depot, Wine and Beyond, and Nova Cannabis, says the thefts are a public safety concern and have a huge cost. The scanners require customers to scan valid ID, such as driver's license, to enter the store. Last year, the Edmonton Police Service said that it responded to about 9,600 thefts from liquor stores, an average of 26 per day. Justice Minister Doug Schweitzer says in addition to costing retailers millions in financial losses, it's also placed a strain on police resources and a continued risk of violence toward workers and bystanders. Schweitzer also says that there's evidence that criminal gangs are fueling the dramatic increase in liquor store thefts. The state of our city's digital infrastructure, along with the availability of broadband internet services for business owners, was discussed at Lethbridge City Hall. The Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce released their findings of the Broadband Task Force.
If we started out with meeting or exceeding, which would be great, the CRTC minimum standard. Right now, the feedback that we got from our 64 respondents was that 54% of them weren't even meeting the minimum standard, the international standard that is required. The only way we're going to put business forward and be competitive to what the rest of the world is if we can meet the world standard and the international standard. We are at a disadvantage if we can't use some of those new technologies that are out there to advance us in our business and in connecting with outside of our city.
A city councilor in Calgary who says he was raised by two mothers has brought forward a motion to have conversion therapy banned in the city. Evan Woolley, along with Mayor Nenshi and 4 other councilors, made the motion at a committee meeting on Monday. Conversion therapy aims to change a person's sexual orientation through counseling. So far in Alberta, both Edmonton and St. Albert have passed motions banning the practice in the province. Canada's chief public health officer says Canadians are at low risk of contracting a new coronavirus that originated in China. 3 potential cases have been investigated and ruled out. Dr. Teresa Tam says all 3 had traveled to Wuhan, the Chinese province where coronavirus is believed to have originated in a now closed seafood market. 6 people have died and 291 have been affected in China. Foreign Affairs Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne wrote to his Iranian counterpart to stress that the black boxes from the downed flight be analyzed by experts in Ukraine and France. His pressure comes amid signals that Iran will not share the flight data recorders.
Iran has a path to choose. Either they go to the path of transparency, accountability, and taking full responsibility. When you say to the world you take full responsibility, that comes with consequences. What I did say to the Iranian foreign minister is that the wish of Canada, the wish of the coordination group would be that the black box be sent quickly, either to Ukraine or to France. I've been made aware of the news report that you just mentioned, and I wrote this morning to my Iranian counterpart to stress again the wish of Canada, the wish of the coordination group, and I would think the wish of the international community that the black box be sent to where they should be sent.
Canadian universities used to have a reputation for leading the way when it came to free speech and freedom to debate controversial ideas. But that reputation has been fading, according to John Carpe, the president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms.
We have reason to believe that the university is scared of Antifa violence, and so they want to pander to Antifa and please Antifa, which is very, very problematic, because if you don't stand up to these groups and if you allow them to dictate who can and cannot speak, you've completely lost the free society. And universities, of all places, should be upholding free speech rights.
We'll hear more about the UBC situation with John Carpe, president for the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, coming up in the second half of our show. An organization representing Inuit women in Canada is calling for a radical shift in the way police work is done in the North. A recent report has uncovered systemic racialized policing in the Arctic. The authors hone in on actions of police officers responding to cases of domestic violence where women share they're not often believed when reporting abuse.
How they police it doesn't work for the people. It's a bit aggressive when you look at how they police. And I think a lot of it has to do with cultural competency, because they have a lack of training and limited experience working in the field, because they're so young when they're done schooling, then they're shipped over to the northern communities.
What we know is that the best policing occurs when the police mirror the community that they service, in terms of gender, in terms of race, in terms of language, etc. This really fabulous report that Paktutik has just released shows that this is not the reality for Inuit. 3 of the regions are policed by the RCMP. And in Nunavut, there are 150 RCMP officers. Only 5 of them are Inuit.
U.S. President Donald Trump's impeachment trial is set to open in a few hours, complete with rock star legal teams. Last night, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell proposed a condensed 2-day calendar for each side's opening arguments. Trump's lawyers are seeking a swift acquittal on charges he pressured Ukraine to investigate his Democratic rivals and obstructed Congress's ensuing investigation. Meanwhile, President Trump arrived earlier today at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The trip puts him thousands of miles from his Senate impeachment trial.
Mr. President, with your trial now getting underway, why is it better to be here in Davos than in Washington, D.C.?
Well, we're here meeting with world leaders, the biggest, most important people in the world, and we're bringing back tremendous business to the United States, and they're all here to see. I'll be making a speech, and then we'll be leaving shortly. But I think it's very important. The other's just a hoax. It's the witch hunt that's been going on for years, and frankly, it's disgraceful. But we look forward to being here. Klaus has done a fantastic job. And again, we're meeting with the biggest companies in the world, the biggest businesses in the world, and world leaders, all for the benefit of the United States. We look forward to the meetings.
Why not have witnesses this
Is
time?
Greta right on climate change, Mr. President?
Well, I'm a big believer in the environment. The environment to me is very important. Thank you.
What
Thank
about
you very much.
Well, that cold snap here in Alberta may have at least one positive effect. For the first time this winter, the lake ice in Chinook Lake and Henderson Lake is thick enough for outdoor skating in designated areas. The ice conditions at Nicholas Sharon Lake and Legacy Lake don't meet standards for public use, and outdoor skating is not permitted on those lakes at this time. Specific areas are being cleared for outdoor skating at Henderson Lake and Chinook Lake. The thickness of natural ice varies from place to place, so residents are reminded to never skate alone and avoid skating in the dark. The warmer temperatures this week could impact ice conditions, so residents are asked to call the Lake Ice Line at 403-320-4974 or visit lethbridge.ca/outdoor skating before going out. And as the Chinook has made its way to the southwest, it's brought with it warmer temperatures, which should be with us for most of the week. Complete weather details are coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. Lots of sunshine coming at us, as you can see, high of 6 degrees today and a low of 0 overnight. Pretty beautiful conditions looking into tomorrow, a high of 5 degrees, and tomorrow night's low is -2. Looking into the 5 days after that, 9 degrees is the high on Thursday, up to 11 degrees on Friday, and then a beautiful weekend, 8 degrees on Saturday, and Sunday's high is 5 degrees, and then looking ahead to Monday, 4 degrees. Not too shabby. Lots of sunshine as well, with a mix of scattered clouds there. Don't we deserve it after what we have just been through? The average highs and lows this time of year. Average high -2, average low -14. The highest day on this, or the highest temperature on this day rather, in 1942 was 16 degrees, and the lowest on record was -41. That was in 1943. The sun rose this morning at 8:18 a.m. and will be setting this evening at 5:07 p.m. Looking to the national forecast for today's highs across the nation. West Coast, Victoria and Vancouver will be seeing some showers today. High of 9 degrees in Victoria, 7-degree high in Vancouver. High of -1 in Edmonton, and 3 degrees is expected in Calgary today. Lots of sunshine across Alberta, and a lovely day across the rest of the prairies as well. Regina's high is 0 degrees, -1 expected up in Saskatoon, and -7 over in Winnipeg. Mix of scattered clouds across the prairies as well. So fairly sunny conditions. Over in Toronto, high of -2. They will be expecting some flurries there, as will Ottawa. -6 is expected there. But look at that, lots of sunshine expected in Montreal today with a crisp -10 day over there. Looking into Atlantic Canada, lots of sunshine across the region. Fredericton's high -9, same thing for Halifax. -13 expected today in Charlottetown, and St. John's high is -4 as they are still experiencing some flurries. They are still in a state of emergency, although it has been relaxed somewhat so that people can get out to get some essential services there at the stores. That's your national forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Ready to take the plunge? Southern Albertans are invited to take part in this year's Polar Plunge in support of Special Olympics, taking place Saturday, February 1st at Henderson Lake Park from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Every dollar raised goes towards more than 3,300 Special Olympic athletes representing 140 communities across Alberta. Registration is $50 and comes with a pair of Polar Plunge gloves. For more details and to register, visit specialolympics.ca/Alberta Polar Plunge. Night to Shine is an event sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation and hosted by My Victory Lethbridge on Friday, February 7th. Night to Shine is an unforgettable prom night experience for people with special needs ages 14 and older. This complimentary event begins on a red carpet with guests receiving the royal treatment, including hair and makeup stations, limousine rides, a catered dinner, and much more. For details and to register, visit myvictory.ca. And if you'd like to volunteer, email carol@myvictory.ca. Do you have a passion for writing? The River Bottom Writers invite you to join them the second and fourth Thursday of every month at 6:45 p.m. in the Richardson Oilseed Room at Lethbridge College for a session of informal writing practice. Writers of all genres are welcome. Bring your pen, paper, or laptop. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
If you want to have a better quality sleep, then check out today's daily life hack. Take note of your body's sleeping position in the morning. This is probably your most comfortable sleeping position, and knowing this can help you to get to sleep a lot quicker. There you go. That's been your daily life hack, or you can just take melatonin like I do. Well, a snow maze measuring nearly 2,800 square meters and located around 30 kilometers south of Winnipeg has achieved a Guinness World Record. The winter maze is bringing locals and travelers from around the world to the field in St. Adolphe. Many locals feel the record-breaking snow maze is a unique way of capturing winter's whimsical charm. Looks like so much fun. The Toronto Blue Jays unveiled their new third jersey over the weekend during Winterfest at Rogers Centre. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, and Randall Grichuk modeled the retro-looking baby blue uniforms for the fans.
I mean, just look at them. I mean, they pop. I mean, they definitely give a different feel to the Blue Jays, and I think it brings back a lot of history. There was a lot of good that happened in this color of jerseys, and it's good to bring it back.
Yeah, I think it's a good mix of what the Blue Jays were when they used to wear the baby blues, and now we're putting our own spin on it just for almost like a new era of baseball here in Toronto.
Why do you like this particular look?
Because I like the way my teammates look.
The deficit in Canada is just over $28 billion and is expected to rise. Aaron Woodrick is the federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, and he says federal spending today not only impacts Canadians now, but our kids and grandkids in the future.
Yeah, realistically, it means higher taxes because they're going to need the money to pay for things, and it's going to mean a squeeze on the services that they expect. They're going to pay taxes, and instead of going to schools and hospitals and roads, it's going to be going to pay for interest on money that was borrowed 10 or 20 years ago. And I think that's just wrong. It's essentially a form of intergenerational theft, and that's the reason that we believe that governments need to live within their means today, so that we're not punishing our children and grandchildren.
Catch the full interview with Aaron Woodrick and BCN's Paul Arthur discussing our country's finances coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.